Okay, we are live. Good night. So tonight, if you are online and you cannot hear me, just send a message on the group here. But I think the sound will be okay. I haven't had the time to test it. So tonight we are going to discuss a very, I will say, controversial subject, is science. And Kabbalah, which in some aspects also we can say religion, because there is a lot of conflicts between what's written in the Torah, for example, and what we have, in the science. For example, a very simple fact that we are in, what year are we on the Jewish calendar? 783. 780 something, right? 83. So if you ask any scientist, what is he going to tell you about that? That the world was not created 5,783 like we all learn from the Bereshit, right? Bereshit bara Elohim. Okay, that's the first word of the Torah. Based on every Jew, or 99.9% of the Jew you are going to ask, the world was created 5,000 years ago, or 5,700 years ago. And the scientists come and say, no, the earth was created billion years ago. So it's not like there is a small gap in between what's written in the Torah and what we deduct from that and what the scientists are saying. So that's one of the gaps. The other gap that we have on the science is that we are material. The science is all about material. If something doesn't exist or cannot be seen by the scientist, it doesn't exist. For example, have a scientist define a soul. What is the physical value of a soul? They cannot define what is a soul. The soul is something that represents a very spiritual entity that does not have a grasp for science. So it was an experiment that was done, for example, to see how much weighs a soul. So the people, they say, oh, we want to know how much weighs a soul. So how would you, if you were a scientist, how would you go and say to weigh a soul?
How much you quantify a soul?
What is the weight of the soul? What would you do? Okay, the guy online start thinking. Okay, what will be your scientific approach here? Because we have what the scientists do. They measure, right? They measure with time. They measure with kilos, with pounds, with. They measure with. You need to measure. You need to have a measurement. Okay, and so there is some scientists that took the challenge and said, okay, let's see. I want to see if there is a soul. If there is a soul in the body, okay, I want to know what this soul is made of and if it has a weight. So what they did, they took the body of someone before he died. They took the weight exactly. They had a very subatomic weight, very precise to the thousands of the gram, okay, which to the millions of the gram. So I don't know for the American, I don't know if it's the gram, but that's the way that you represent that's a kilogram is 1,000 grams. Okay, a kilogram is about 1,100. It's 2 pound, 2.2 pound, 2.2 pound. So that gives you an idea. The gram is not a lot, and this balance, this way that this scale was a millionth of a gram. Okay, so it was a very precise scale. So they put the body, someone that was about to die. I don't know how they found the candidate for that, but they put the body on it and they waited until this person died, and then they immediately, as soon as they pronounced dead, then they took the before and the after. The difference, it was a 20 millionth of a gram. Okay, so you take a gram, which is almost nothing, you divide by a million, okay, and it was the 20th million of the gram. That was the weight of the soul, okay, and that's what they determined, that there is a soul in the body. They just wanted to prove something, which proves nothing, because a soul is just an electrical wave. It's a wave. It's nothing that can be quantified within with a physical matter, okay. So all these things here that they do, the scientist is always has to relate to something material. Okay, it's very difficult. For example, when there is someone, you say, I have a headache. Okay, how do they explain the headache? The headache, you have your vessel into your skull, contracts, and because they contract, they created some chemicals, and those chemicals, when the blood goes in, creates a pain. That's the scientific explanation of a headache. Okay. First, they need to ask, why the vessel contracts. Well, so suddenly let's give the body a headache tonight. Okay, let's contract the vessel. So what makes the vessel contract? What makes these proteins go and do something to your body? Or what are the mechanisms behind everything that is happening? So now, with the year, if you do 200 years ago, you don't have to go very far. 200 years ago, they had no clue that our body is an electrical machine. Everything is electrical. All the information that goes from any single point of your body is done by an electrical current that transfers the information electronically, exactly like a computer, and you have wires. Those wires are the nerve, and the nerve conduct this electricity from one point to another and give the information. For example, let's say that I now hurt your foot. Okay, how does the feeling of this pain goes and is being appreciated? Is it very painful? Is it a little bit painful? How is it appreciated by the body? Okay, the information comes from the nerve where it was hit. It goes from the nerve, goes all the way to the brain. The brain interprets this electrical current that carries a certain energy, and the brain says, oh, something hurt to this body. The place where you were hurt had no clue that it hurts. It's the electrical current, the current that you have in your body, that tells you, the brain, there is something wrong in that place here, and guess what? Something hurts. And then you look at your foot. Why you look at your foot is because your brain told you that something is wrong. All of that happens within nanoseconds. So there is millisecond and in nanosecond. Nanosecond is a millionth of a second. Okay, in a millionth of a second, this information comes to the thing, and then I look at my foot. My foot had no clue that he received something. My brain does. Okay, so all of this information, and before 200 years ago, they had no clue that this information was transiting. So that means that there is in our body something beyond the material, something beyond physical, that is doing all these operations. And the scientists are struggling with that because it's not something that you can measure. So if you look in the laboratories and all that, they put electrodes on the brain and they try to measure the brain, they try to measure but they don't understand how everything functions yet. For example, today you cannot do a brain transplantation, right? You can transplant most of the part of the body. You cannot transplant a brain. Why? Because that's the central system. This is not something you can change. You cannot make this brain, one brain of someone, work on another body. There is no way. So there is a lot of mysteries there, and everything happens in the brain. So the scientists are struggling with this type of thing. So, of course, the Kabbalah explains about, a lot of things. They explain about the soul. They explain about you know, why there is a connection between the body and the spiritual, why everything happens in the spiritual world before it happens on is manifestation of this happens in this physical world. So there is two worlds, and there is one world that we call, the Kabbalists call the world of the 1%, is the world that we live in. We perceive about 1% of what is happening in this world. Okay? Everything that we feel, everything that we see, everything that we do, everything that we perceive through our senses represents only 1% of this world, of the existence of this world. And then there is another world that what we call the 99% world, which is the world of Emet, that in the Torah we call the world of Emet, the world that is going to be the world that is going to be where everything is hidden from us. Okay, the thing that we cannot perceive with our five senses. So our five senses perceive 1%. Everything else is happening on the 99%. So that means that our limitation is huge here. What is this 99%? The scientists just started in this century to go and tap into this 99%. And they started to realize that there is beyond the world of physical, which was where the scientists are operating, there is other world, that there is other dimensions that are available for us to understand what is happening. So this thing, I'm sure you've heard the names. If you went a little bit, you studied a little bit, you've heard the name. It's called the quantum physics. Okay? So the quantum physics has been revealed very recently, or I will say the middle of the last century, in the 1950s, 1940. This is when the quantum physics started. So what is the quantum physics? Okay? Let's try to give a definition here. Quantum physics is the study of the matter and energy at the most fundamental level. Again, quantum physics is the study of the matter and the energy at the most fundamental level. It aims to uncover the properties and behaviors of the very building blocks of nature. While many quantum experiments examines the very small object, such as electron and photon, quantum phenomena is all around us, acting on every scale. So now the scientists, they are not looking anymore at something that is you can see with your eyes, or you can see with a microscope, or you can see with a very powerful microscope. They are looking at electron and proton, which is light. You have heard me a lot of time during these classes talk about light of God, right? The light of God. The light of God has a physical meaning and has also a spiritual meaning. We cannot see the good that God does. When you do good to someone, can you quantify that good? If someone is good, can you quantify how good is a mother? There is no way of quantifying with any measurement on this earth. There is nothing that you can quantify with. The quantum physics, they are putting the equations together to be able to quantify this type of action, because this type of action, the love, everything that we have a feeling with, can be measured using the quantum physics. Why we can be measured with quantum physics? Because this has an action to the electron and the proton. The electron and the photon. The electron and the photon is what, for example, is being used in our body to go and communicate. That's the way the body communicates internally, okay, using all these electrons and everything. And that cannot be even seen by microscopic. Sometimes they have, in order to see them, they have to go and make them collide together. And the collision is measured, and this collision that's being measured is the way that is the time that is manifested, and the manifestation of this photon and electron is for less than a nanosecond, is less than a millionth of a second. This is the way they measure it, and they can see the, but before that, when they just are element, they cannot even see it. So it's a very advanced study. And you are going to tell me, but what has to do with Kabbalah and what has to do with science? Everything has to do with that, because for all the study that we had these past few classes, we've learned that we talk about the light and we talk about the creation of the world. The creation of the world, you remember, is come from nothing to something, which the scientists cannot explain. You cannot create something from nothing. For example, the equation that you give the scientist, who came first, the chicken or the egg? So if it's the egg, who created the egg? If it's the chicken, who created the chicken? So that means that there was a creation from nothing to something, which cannot be explained by the scientist, because there is no material emanation from the work, from this place that has created. So the quantum physics explains that today you can have a nothing from something, and you can create something from nothing just by using this, for example, taking two electrons or taking two photons and colliding between them. There is nothing, and suddenly there is something that appears. So you can create that. So that's one of the things that is going to explain what in the Kabbalists explain that the scientists cannot resolve when basically the earth was created. So let's go back now. We talk about the quantums, we talk about this theory of the quantums, we talk about the creation, the 5,000 years and all that. And of course the earth is not 5,000 years old. We all know that, we've all learned about it. We all agree, but our belief here making believe that this is the thing, and the scientists don't know anything. So let me bring you a few facts here that come directly from Sefer Yetzirah. First, Sefer Yetzirah explains that everything has been created with the letters, right? We know that there is the 22 letters. The 22 letters created everything. Every single thing that exists has created. They created the letters, created the earth, created the planets, created the men, created everything. The parts of the body, everything was created with the letters. And so the elements and some non-material elements were also created by the letters, because the letters, we always have to think that the letters has a physical manifestation and as a spiritual manifestation. So, for example, the letters, they created the planets, right? So they created Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, Sun, and Moon. Okay, these are the planets that were created that we know. They created other planets that we cannot see, but that's not relevant for now. And but they also created poverty, destruction, internal injury, sickness, blood, weakness, strife, external injury, war, hatred, jealousy, life, peace, good, prosperity, religion, feeling, joy, wealth, political advance, grace, love, lost, children, fruitfulness, wisdom, skill, writing, languages, light, darkness, work, accomplishment, travel, exile, and surrogate. Everything was created. So I'm just giving you a list here of everything that's created by the letter. So everything that we see and everything that we feel and everything that we have was created with the letters. And so knowing that the letters created the planets and created everything that has to do with the planet, the permutation of the letters are the one that the letters were used and the certain letters were used, their permutation were able to create living creature. So from last week, you remember when Adam was giving a name, so basically we'll take the letter, those letters, put them in a certain order, do a certain sound with that letter. That's why we have vowels. That's why it's very important to know the sound and say the sound. And when the sound plus the letter was activating the animal, right? That's when the thing was activated. Okay, that means that the power of the word is the one that has activated. So when the planets were created on the fourth day of the creation, and all the planets were created on basically on the Wednesday, Yom Revi'i, and the planet that were created, they were created in a certain order, and they were created in an order for the night, and they were created in an order for the day. So they were created that here it says, according to the Bible, the stars and planets were made on the fourth day of the creation, which counting from Sunday, the fourth day is Wednesday, but based on the biblical day, which starts at the evening, really the planets were created on the Wednesday, means they were created Tuesday night, right? Based on our calendar, Gregorian calendar day, it was created on the Tuesday night, right? So it was created on the first hour of the evening of Tuesday night. So as soon as it was Tuesday night, then the planets were created, and they were created in a certain order. Okay, so on the first hour was created Saturn, on the second hour Jupiter, the third hour Mars, the fourth hour the Sun, the fifth hour Venus, the sixth hour Mercury, and the 7 hours the Moon. So that was the creation, the order of the creation, the way that the Sefer Yetzirah described that creation. This order is very important. We are going to see why this order is important and how it's going to tie with everything that I'm going to bring you about the Earth, the age, and all of that. So each planet then dominates the hour in which it was positioned in the sky. So it was positioned certain distance from each other, right? There is, and the Earth being of course the Earth is not here because the Earth was created first. Okay? So if you go to a scientist, the scientist says, no, the Sun was created first, right? That's what the scientists are going to create because the Sun is the star of the solar system. There is no way that but then it says the Earth, and we are going to kind of prove that the Earth was created before all the planets. And so there is an order of the planet by night, and there is order of the planet by day. Okay, so the order of the planet by night, the Sunday, Mercury is ruling. On the Monday is Jupiter. On the Tuesday is Venus. On the Wednesday is Saturn. On the Thursday is the Sun. On the Friday is the Moon. And on Saturday is Mars. Okay, that's the order in which each evening it dominates the day. Okay, that's for the evening. On the day, the order is different. So for the day, the order in which the planet influence the day is different. The Sunday is the Sun. The Monday is the Moon. Tuesday is Mars. Wednesday is Mercury. Thursday is Jupiter. Friday is Venus, and Saturday is Saturn. So now start listening the names, and there is some relation. So have you ever asked yourself why Sunday is called Sunday? It's not because you go outside and you have fun, because in Cleveland, for example, in the middle of the winter, I don't think you see a lot of sun on the Sunday, right? So The Sunday, it's called because the sun is the planet controlling the Sunday of the day, okay? And the days are going by the day. Monday is the moon. Ima, how do you say Monday in French?
Monday? Mardi.
No.
Lundi.
Lundi. How do you say the moon in Luna? Lundi, Luna is the same letters. Okay? Tuesday is Mars. Okay? How do you say Mardi, Mars. Mercredi is Mercury. Okay? Very close. Okay? Jupiter is jeudi. Okay?
I'm curious if it's Latin.
It's Latin, yeah. Venus is vendredi, is the same thing. And Saturday is Saturn. Okay? Which is Shabbat. Okay? And they called it Saturday. Okay? So you see that the calendar that has been put by the Latin that we use today, they are all coming from those planets that were created, and that all come from Sefer Yetzirah.
Why don't we do, like we say Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlisi, like we don't have...
Okay, because, okay, so there is a question why in Hebrew we say Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, because we are not influenced by the planet. The Goys are. Okay? There is no Mazal Israel. Okay? So we don't have this influence, the same influence. But these are not the thing that was created by the Jews. They were created by the non-Jews. But how they created it, they took this knowledge here, and we are talking about the knowledge. They took all this knowledge that existed at the time before the knowledge disappeared, and we are going to talk about it a little bit after 200 BC. This knowledge was hidden, and if we have time, we'll discuss why it was hidden. So all this knowledge was available. So they took it when they went to Jerusalem. The Roman, they took all this knowledge. They took the people that knew about it. Okay, they took this knowledge. They came back to Rome. They created the Christianity, and they created everything here based on the knowledge that we had. So that's why this thing. And so you look at all of the scientists. If you look at all the philosophers of the Roman and the Greek, they all used our information here from Sefer Yetzirah. Okay? So that's one thing I wanted to mention here, just to give you the reference of the stuff that we use every day that we even don't know that it's coming from the Kabbalah information. So now we are going to talk about the universe and the edge of the universe and the edge of the earth. And here I need to do some writing here because it's going to be maybe a little bit easier to understand from you. So it is said in the Sefer Yetzirah that we have 7 universes. Okay? And it states that there is 7 distinct periods of the creation. Okay, each lasting 7,000 years, according to some Kabbalists. The present creation is the second creation. Okay, while others state that it's the 6th or 7th creation. So there is some Kabbalists. So it says that first it's a 7,000 years for the creation. Per creation. And then some Kabbalists say we are in the second creation, and some Kabbalists says we are the 6th or 7th. You know, there is always the Jews, they cannot agree on anything. There is always something that is happening. That means that the universe as known, okay, will last for 49,000 years, right? 7 times 7,000. That means that our universe basically will last for 49,000 years. It's still very far from what the scientists are saying the Earth age is, right? Sorry, they are talking about billions of years. So now, let's go and add a little bit more to these numbers. So according to the Kabbalists and to Rabbi Isaac of Akko, when they counting the years in this cycle, one must use an ordinary physical year. But the divine year has a different value. So the Midrash says that each divine year is 1,000 years. Okay? So one divine year, which is, we are talking about the divine year here. So one divine year is equal to, we said, 1,000, right? Oh, now we start having a bigger number, right? Suddenly here. 1,000 years, which your site is as but yesterday. The psalm, how the psalm, David HaMelech, help me. What did David HaMelech wrote? The Tehillim. Thank you. Tehillim, the psalm. Tehillim 94, okay? Since each year contains 365 days, a divine year will be 365 and 250 years, okay? So a divine year, okay, each year contains 365. So what a divine year is, we say is 1,000 years, right? Each year contains 365 and a half day, right? The solar is 365 and a half. That means that now if we multiply 1,000 times this, then now we are talking about 365,000 years of our years. And that comes from the Midrash. Okay? According to this cycle, every 7,000 divine year will consist of 2,556,750 earthly years. So if you convert that and you multiply by the universe here, you are going to go to a number that says 2,556,750 thousand. Okay? So that's what basically 1 year of the 7 universe represent.
We take a step back for a second. So first you said one divine year is 1,000 years. And then you said one divine year is 365 years.
Okay, so a divine year, then you have the number of days that it contains in a divine year. Okay? So a divine year divides in number of days, right? And since this contains 366 a day, a divine year will be 365.
You mean a divine day is 1,000
so a year long, yeah, a year long, yeah. So you multiply, so you multiply these 1,000 years by 365, okay? That gives you 365,000 years, okay? Right. Which then times 7, okay? And no, that's not times 7. According to the cycle of 7 years, will consist on earthly year, because now you need to multiply by 49,000 years, which is one divine year. So you need to multiply this result by 49,000, then you are going to get this number. Okay? So basically the Sefer Yetzirah tells us in one universe, in 1 year of the creation, there is on our level of years, we have 2,566,750,000 years. Okay? We will redo the calculation together here. And it's not over. because now that's only for 1 year of the creation. So we said how many years in the creation? We have 7, right? So if I multiply this 2 billion by 7, now I get to the astrological number here, which is much bigger, which now we are at 15 billion 340 500,000. And that's the number of years, of our years. If I take the 7 universe, if I take the 7 different creations, if I multiply that by 1,000, if I multiply that by 365, and if I multiply that by 49,000 that was contained on every 1,000 years, which is not our 1,000 years, but the 1,000 years of the creation, we are going to go to 15 billion years. And guess what? Guess what? The scientists agree that today our Earth is between 15 to 16 billion years old. Okay? So our current Hebrew calendar here is a little behind, right? Our 5,783 here.
Maybe they're rounding to the nearest billion.
They are rounding to the nearest billion because Nechama likes to round everything to the nearest dollar.
I like to round
Down,
down.
okay. So you see that the scientists and the Kabbalah are not very far. Of course, when you look just at the Bereshit and you look just at these numbers here, it doesn't make any sense. But when you start digging into and you look at the Kabbalah and you look at how the Kabbalists explain, and this thing was written before even they had the machine to make the calculation on getting those numbers. Okay, they didn't know at the time they were the Chinese were using those
Abacus. It's called an abacus.
Anabecas. Did you ever try to use that? I know how to use it because I've learned about it. That's the first thing you learn when you do computers. You have to learn how to do these things. Okay, so that gives you an idea of why the Kabbalah and science are not that far away. You just need to have the knowledge on how things are calculated and how relative those numbers are, and not just for granted. So when someone is going to go and say, hey, Jews, Earth was not created 5,000 years ago, you are going to say, of course he was not created. He was created 15 billion years ago. And that's when the thing was created. And guess what? It was not the first creation. We are all in our second creation, which explains the dinosaurs, which explains all of those things that we have here. Because when they found people, right, they found a skeleton, they say, oh, this skeleton was 3 million years ago, okay? Or they were 300 million years ago, okay? Why? Because they found elements, okay, that can be dated back to those worlds that we created, because some other Kabbalists said we are on the 6th or 7th of our creation. So there is a debate here with the second creation or 6 or 7. If we are 6 or 7, we can find people that are 2 or 3 million years old, because compared to the creation of the world, it's a very small number. So there is no contradiction with the science, and you don't have to say the scientists are crazy, and the scientists cannot say the Jews are crazy, because our count has nothing to do with the count of the creation of the world. So this is why it's very important to have this information and to understand. So there is something very interesting here that is written also in the Sefer Yetzirah, that the time, that the way that we calculate the time, the way that we live the time, because I was telling you, right, in our years, the way that we count a year, and there is the year of God, right? Which is a different value, right? One is 1,000 years is equivalent to 1 year, 49,000 years. So that means the numbers that we calculate is different. Why? Because the time that we have is relative to the life that we live now. Okay, so we count 60 seconds. 60 seconds is 60 seconds. I think I already gave you the example. Is it the same 60 seconds when you are late or you have nothing to do? How quickly those 60 seconds go when your life is dependent on those 60 seconds, and the 60 seconds have the same feeling of time when you are bored and do nothing? Of course not. Okay? Ask someone that is a smoker and he has 10 minutes to Shabbat going out, how those 10 minutes are very, very long minutes. Okay? It's like, why? It's the same minutes. There is no difference between these minutes and these minutes. It's because the time is relative to a lot of other things. So the same thing that the time is relative, even in our perception, in some of our perception, the time is also relative in the spiritual, in the 99% world, okay? In our 1% world, 60 seconds is a minute, 60 minutes is an hour, okay? 24 hours is a year, is a day, 1440 minutes is a day, you know? So you have all those things here that are calculated and are expressed by numbers. But really, our body does not express everything the time by the number. It expresses the time based relative to what we are doing. Okay? So if you do nothing, the time doesn't go very fast. If you are very busy and if you have you are late to a meeting, every second is going to be going very fast. So this is why the relation between the time, the distance, the space can be different. And guess what? That's the theory of Einstein, right? E equal mc2. So basically the time depends on the speed, on your speed of what you are doing. So the speed can be the speed of your actions, but it can also be the speed of your brain, the speed of that you are thinking. So everything will be relative to that.
You're saying that vis-a-vis the relation of our time to God's time.
To God's time, okay? And because we are physical and we are spiritual, we have a relation to God, right? Our soul is not affected by the time. Our soul is immortal. Our soul does not get any relation to those years or to those minutes. There is no relation. So we have in us the two forces. We have our body, which is totally part of the 1%, totally a prisoner of the time, the way that we have it. Okay, we cannot go faster than the time. We cannot go, my clock make it faster, but I can feel that it's faster. The feel is not my body. The feel is my soul, because my soul does not have the same limitation. So now let's go back to the planets. So we have the 7 planets, but we have a lot of 7s in our creation. And the scientists, if you ask them, why is it 7? I don't think they will have a lot of explanation why is it 7. So the first, yeah, sure.
How come, like, there's a lot of things going on in the sky, like in the galaxies, right? There's like, let's say there's a lot of moons on like certain planets, like there's some planets have 10 moons or whatever. How come like all those things aren't involved also? Like, how come it's not like, oh, like the Saturn and the moon from Saturn and all, like, I don't know. How come we don't, like, why aren't they all considered planets and involved in all this
because
astrology?
because they were I'm going to talk about it in a few minutes here.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So the question was, there is billions of stars, okay, in the sky, literally billions of stars, and you are going to see the number I'm going to give you is a very big number, a number that you cannot even say how many they have, and Sefer Yetzirah gives you an exact number of how many stars they have. So there is objects, celestial objects, that were created specifically to create some energy into our... Did you hear about the days of the week, or you were not listening? No? Okay. So I'm going to, okay, so I explained that every day of the week, the way that they are named, Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, first, why, oh, very interesting, I forgot to ask this question. Why is the computers, it starts on the Sunday? You know the computers, when you do programming, it always starts on a Sunday. It doesn't start on a Monday. So when you do a programmer, so you say, so it's 1 to 7, okay, there is an index, you do programming, there is a language. The language, the first day of the week on the programming language is always the Sunday. Doesn't make any sense. Everywhere in the world, the Monday is the first day of the week, right? The Jews, okay, the Jews are always exception, but they cannot do anything like everybody else, right? So we did, let's do the first day of the week being the Sunday. But that's funny that the computers, which are, we are going to see element using the photon and the neutron and all those electrical, because it works only on electricity. There is nothing physical. If you eliminate the electricity, there is no computer. If there is no electricity here, there is no more battery, the computer is dead, right? There is nothing. You still have the material stuff, but the thing that making live, it doesn't exist anymore. The same thing for us. If the electricity stops going in our body, our body is going to be here, but nothing is going to work. Okay, same thing for a computer. This machine, the first day of the week is the Sunday. Okay?
Why?
Because the sun is the sun is the first day of the creation. Okay, so the Sunday. Did you ask yourself why you call the Sunday Sunday?
No.
Hmm?
No. I think there's something ancient.
Okay, let me guess you why the Monday is called Monday.
Yeah, why?
Because the moon controls the Monday. Moon Monday. In Latin, is lunes, is landy. How you say the moon in? How do you say the moon in Spanish? Lunes.
Oh.
Okay. So the days of the week are all called based on the planet. Mardi is Mercury. Okay. No, not Mercury. Mardi is yeah. Yeah. So every day of the week. Mercredi is Mercury. Every day of the week is related to a planet, the seventh planet representing the seven spirot, from Chesed to Gvura. Okay? So that's why those planets are important. And those planets were created specifically with one letter. There is one letter that was used to create that planet. All the other stuff was created differently, and we are going to talk about it.
Okay.
So they have importance, but they don't have the importance of those planets because those planets are influencing us every single day. Okay? So I will recommend you, for people that came late, I recommend you to go back and watch the few minutes that you missed, because there is stuff that you are going to understand from what I'm saying. Yeah.
The seven universes that Sefer Yetzirah enumerates, it gives names to each universe.
Vilon, Rakia, Shachakim, Zevul, Ma'on, Makon, and Aravot.
And corresponds scientifically with?
Say it again.
Does it correspond scientifically? In other words, when we use in common language a universe, most people mean the universe.
Yeah.
But I'm asking, Sefer Yetzirah, is it the same context?
No, it's
different.
okay. Those are the name. You were asking me for the name.
Yeah.
This is the name. So there is a different name that is going to be closer to you. So there is another name. It's Eretz, Adama, Arka, Sharba, Yabasha, Tevel, and Shalad. These names, by the way, are used by the Indians. A lot of those names that I just said are used by Indian, because Indian, they go through these same... India, the Hodim.
I think the one that you from Sefer Yetzirah, I think you also the Rambam quotes those.
Yeah, yeah.
Seven,
And so the Rambam took it from the Sefer Yetzirah. And so again, it's Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. And on the, I will say, the attributes of those is life. So the first one, which is Vilon, is life. peace, wisdom, grace, wealth, seed, and dominance. So the first one is life, okay, because that's when the life was established, okay. The second one, which some Kabbalists said we're in the second one, which is the peace, which I don't think today is very peaceful. So right now they said we are on the 6 or 7, so it's going to be in the seed, the attribute of the seed, the one that we are in, or the dominance. I think that we are in the last one in dominance, because we are the one bringing dominance in the entire world, entire creation here. So I think we are in the last creation, based on everything that I've learned and what I've heard. I think we are on the 7th. We are at the end. We are on the 7th at the creation, which will be explaining that we are close, very close to what the scientists said, okay? Because again, the Earth is in expansion, okay? Like you remember on the first classes, I was saying the Ein Sof. There is no end to the numbers, right? There is no end to the expansion. So if you look at the scientist says it's always expanding, right? So the Earth is going to expand, but it has an end, which is the number here. So there is in the world, in the creation, there is 7 Earth, okay? So the 7 Earth, you have that I just mentioned here, which is Adama, Tevel, Yetzirah, Shalad, Eretz, Shalad, and other source given to this name, right? But it's also, when you look scientifically, okay, there is also 7 plaques, 7 parts of the world, okay? And they are called North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, and Antarctica. Okay? So when they gave the name, which we have the name from the original name that was given, that I was giving earlier, Eretz, Adama, Arka, Shariva, Yabasha. Yabasha is when you say you go on land. In Hebrew, you say you go to Yabasha, Tevel, and Shalad. These are the 7 earth from the Sefer Yetzirah, which correspond to the 7 earth, the 7 continents that has been defined by the scientist. By chance? Okay. Then there is the 7 seas. Okay. So there is also 7 seas that has been described. It's called in the commentaries, it's called there is 7 lakes and seas in the Holy Land. The Holy Land represents the world, right? The Holy Land is not just Eretz Israel. Eretz Israel is a microcosm of the entire world. It represents the world itself. The Holy Land is the spiritual center of the world, but it also represents the entire world. So in modern name, there is 7 seas, okay? And it's the North Atlantic, the South Atlantic, the North Pacific, the South Pacific, the Indian Ocean, Arctic Ocean, and Antarctic Ocean. And so there is 7. There is also 7 major rivers in the world, okay? Okay, so in the Hebrew, it's called the 7 rivers associated with the Holy Land, okay, and the Holy Land. So you have the Jordan, the Yarmouk, the Kirmion, the Poga, the Pishon, the Gishon, and the Achidekel. And the Euphrates is not, the Euphrates, the Euphrates is not included because they are all part of that river. They all feed, that was the original river from the creation, right? So they are all getting their source from this one, okay? And there is 7 rivers in the world. The 7 largest rivers in the world are 7. Then there is 7 deserts, okay? And there is 7 days of the week. So you see that the seven split is not, and there is 7 years, right, which is represent the sabbatical, right, and 7 sabbatical represents a jubilee, right, and 7 jubilees represent 49,000 years. 49,000 years represent 1 year of the 7,000, right? It's 14. So everything is a 7.
You make a touchdown, and then you get the point.
It's 7 points. So you see that the 7 is everywhere. Why is it everywhere? Because the world has been created with 7 sphirot. Okay? The 3 sphirot that are not enriched, Keter Chochma Bina, that are our world are the 99%, and the 1% of the world was created, the world that we see today was created with the 7 sphirot, and that's our world. So everything is 7. There is 7 notes of music. There is, we can go with the 7. There is the 7 colors of the rainbow. Okay, there is 7 everywhere. Okay, and so why? Because okay, we have 7 holes in the face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, everything is 7. We have 7 parts of the body. Okay, if you didn't count yet, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, where is the 7th? The neck. Okay, so you have 7 parts of the body. Okay, so everything is 7. So that's why you understand that there is nothing that is being scientifically explained today on why those things are multiplies of 7 or 7 themselves. Why? Because everything comes from the creation of one thing, creation of the world, through the letters and through the sphirot. So now to answer your question, if you take the letters, there is 22 letters. If you take the permutation of its letter, I don't know if you are good with permutation, and there is a formula on how to calculate. So for example, if you take the number 1, 2, 3, how many permutations you have with 1, 2, 3? You have 6 permutations. Okay? How you take the permutation, how you calculate, you multiply by the number, you divide by the same number, that gives you the permutation. I don't want those. If you didn't do algebra, I don't know what version is. You have no clue what I'm talking about. Now we have 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. If you take the permutation of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, you get a number that is close to 6,000,000,000, which is 10 exponential 21. Okay? So the number is called 6,000,000,000, which is 10 exponential 21. So it's a 10 with 21 zeros. Okay? And guess what? The scientific, they calculated that in the universe, the number of stars, element of the stars, planets, asteroid, moons of the planets, and whatever they can calculate today is in the sextillion number. Okay? Why is that? Because we said that the letter created everything. Okay?
Planets, stars, everything combined.
Everything combined represents to that number, which is the number of, and you can go scientifically, you can check, 10 exponential 21, that's what they said, they calculated plus minus a few sextillion, the number of planets that they can today see in the eyes, from their eyes. So you see that there is a lot of things, and this thing was written, again, before they had even a telescope. So how they will know those numbers, how they will know that planet that cannot see by the eyes exist. Okay, there is 3 planets in the solar system. Pluto, forgot the name. There is 3 planets that you cannot see with the eye, which are mentioned in the Sefer Yetzirah, which have been discovered 250 years ago. Okay, so those planets, of course, they cannot be seen because they are representing the Keter Chochma Bina, which is the world we cannot see. So those planets cannot be seen. Okay. We are going to take a break here, and I'm going to continue here for a few other minutes. But you know what? Before that, if there is any question, I went to a lot of numbers here to explain some of the scientific here things. So any question or anything that comes to you?
Flip it from here, go back to the front page.
Can I ask an annoying question?
Sure.
Dumb question, it's annoying.
Yeah, no, that's just that was good.
So we have an annoying question coming for the crowd here.
Because you mentioned a little bit about, no, 'cause it's annoying because I think you probably already covered it, just for context. Because you mentioned something about the dinosaurs and like the other humans, and that must be, or that might be from the other universes. What did you mean by that?
So there is,
Is that not
so
like
there
Kabbalah?
was, so the creation is based on 7 universes.
Right.
Okay, so God created this world within 7 universes. Okay, some Kabbalists say we're in the second universe of the creation, the second. Some Kabbalists say we are 6th or 7th. Okay, so there is debate here. Okay, that's why I was saying I think we are the 7th. We are at the end, but
You're on team 7.
yeah, I'm on team 7 exactly, and so there is 7,000 years in the creation. You know that we are 5,700. So there is 7 years in the creation. So the total years of the creation is 49,000 years. Okay? So those creators, the creators that were created, dinosaurs and they are part of those universes that existed before the current universe we live in.
But I thought those were like destroyed.
They were destroyed, of course they were destroyed.
But we still live in the same planet? Like,
They
it
were,
wasn't like dust, boom, we make a new one? Or it's the same planet?
it's the same planet. It's the same planet in your 1%. Okay? In your physical creation of the world, the way that you physically see a world. Okay, today there is even a debate. Is the world round or the world flat, right? I know that there is some flat people and some round people here. Based on the Kabbalist,
Yoni, are you listening?
so based on the Kabbalist, I hope I have it here. Let me see. Yoni is going to be disappointed. That's the Kabbalist representation of the earth, of Eretz. So if you look at the circle here, and if you look at the diagonals here, you see that there is more of a round, not round, but more like a spheric aspect of the representation of the world. Okay.
Almost like the pictures.
Okay. So this let's bring that closer to the camera so people can see here. Okay, here.
What we're talking.
Sorry, I'm not sophisticated enough here. I hope you can see something here. Okay, and so that's the representation of Eretz, and with some annotation here, Kabbalistic, that has been written in about, I think, in the 100 or 200 BC, this one. So again, this type of the Earth, the way it is today, again, because the reference of the time and the reference of the material part of the Earth, it's again, you see the Earth because your eyes see. You remember I said if you don't look, it doesn't exist. Today you are on the Earth, but why the debate is it round or flat? Because you cannot be in the sky, right?
Well, some people have them.
Yeah, some people. Have you? So people so maybe the people in the sky, if you go in the sky, say, oh, let's all put, how you call those things that you put money, and send Yoni, get all the people of Beechwood, give $1,000, send Yoni to the capsule here in the, what's the name of SpaceX? Okay, send him in a capsule here. How much it cost? What, $60 million to go in the? Okay, so maybe Yoni needs to sell few houses here. Go in the capsule, go in the Earth, and he's going to come back and says, you know what? I was wrong, it was wrong.
Oh, like it was Isaac.
The reason there is a question is because we cannot see it, right? As soon as you see, then your eyes are not going to lie to you, but guess what they do? But because you know those, you know those things that you can watch. There is some special ways of colors and that you can watch. Someone can see a cat, the other guy will see a dog, the other guy will see a bird, right? You see the thing. Why is that? Because your perception, your brain translates some stuff, and everyone is different. So it translates the image and the colors and the energy of what you see differently. So your brain represents this image differently because it doesn't really exist. Your brain makes the image exist. Okay?
So isn't there a measure that all the other planets were the other universes that were, like, they sinned and then they were destroyed? What was that one thing?
Say it again.
I remember learning in high school, and then whatever it was, that like the planets were all worlds, and
No, all of
they were
that,
destroyed.
all of that is theories. There is no, all of that is theories. There is no, today scientific, okay, so we are in 2022, right?
Yeah.
They put a big telescope into, that cost billions of dollars, okay, that at the beginning didn't work. Finally, they make it work. They had a beautiful picture of Mercury. Yeah, and Jupiter, they had those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful images. Each image cost us billions of dollars. What are they doing to do with those images? Is it going to stop the cancer disease? Is the people that Chas v'Shalom cannot have kids will have kids? No. It has zero value.
You'd like to hope that the people in the scientific community take it serious. Not people that are married to old ideas and they can't get it. Like if they take these new images seriously, that it'll have some value somewhere.
Where? What value?
No, I agree with you, but
There is no value because the value has only the spiritual value. The physical value is a 1% of the value. The value of those planets are by their spiritual aspect and how they control our Monday, our Tuesday, our Wednesday, how they influence our life. Why these names have been given based on the planet? Nobody knows. If you, I'm telling you, you ask 99%, 99.9% of the Jews, what I tell you tonight, no one knows.
even not only in the Jewish people, even in the
No, I'm talking about the Jews, because let's say the Jews, they are more educated, they are supposed to learn, they read the Gemara. There is people that are studying for 60 years. Ask them why the Monday is called Monday. They have no clue. Okay? That means that the scientific people, they are going to look into the material aspect of it, which then you are going to see the 1% of it. But what about the 99% that you cannot see? What about the 99% of our life that we have zero control about? Okay, because when someone, I was explaining a very simple thing when you come, what is an headache, which it was a revelation for Nehama apparently, okay, the headache. Okay, and nobody knows the mechanism of an headache. Did you ever ask yourself where the headache comes from? Do you know you have a headache, right? You have a migraine, right? Where is it coming from? Okay, most of the people they are not going to ask. You have to ask.
You're in tune with your body.
What is the mechanism? Is the contraction of the vessel in your thing, and the blood is contracting, and there is a creation of a substance here that makes the pain, but the pain is not here. Is not the vessel. The pain is in your brain. I was explaining, if you hit your fingers here, your toes, okay, if you hit your toes have no clue that it's been hurt. I have no clue. The information comes from your toes through in a nanosecond, which is a millionth of a second, goes to your toes, from your toes, and your toes sends electrical information to the brain and say, hey, I'm hurt. And the brain realizes it and sends a signal to the rest of the body that says, oh, there is a problem. And then you look at your toe. All of that took about 2 or 3 nanoseconds to happen. But the pain, the foot, he has no clue that he is hurt. You can put, this is why that people, they can block, if you can block this signal here, that's what the medication does. You block the signal so the brain doesn't know that it hurts. So when you take a pain medication, what does the pain medication does? It blocks the signal of the pain is still here.
Right, true.
Your inflammation is there, but your brain has no clue that it's happening. That's the way medication works. The gurus that can walk on fire, you know those people call on coal on fire. How is it possible? It's not just they don't feel the pain. It does not burn them. How is it possible that you have flesh here? They walk on the coal. First, they can walk on the coal, which is like just take a small flame and do that, and you are going to jump. Okay, this guy on the coal, which is 1500 degrees. They walk on it like you know, they are dancing. Okay, and on top of that, their food doesn't even burn. How is it possible?
Wim Hof. You know who Wim Hof is?
No.
He does ice baths, like in frozen water, and like he's chilling for like 30 minutes, no question.
Exactly. So how does people? They block the signal. They spiritually are capable of controlling the signal coming from the body, and because they are controlling the signal from the body, they also control the material aspect of the skin. So the skin does not get affected, because the skin gets affected because of the reaction of the body, that the brain told the foot, there is something burning, let me put water, let me push stuff, let me do a blister, let me do that, because that the brain try to protect the thing. So he sends a million, he sends a thing. Everything comes from there, and everything is electric. There is nothing mechanic. There is no mechanical aspect. This is why the scientists, the doctors and all that, they cannot control at that level, because this is the level of the soul. This is the level of the electrical body. And that's what, this is why it's important, all those classes that we have, so you understand that the 1%, which is the body, the part, the thing, is what you think is not what you think it is. It's way, way different. And you can control. You remember when I said you can do meditation? What is meditation? It's controlling your thought, controlling your electricity that you have, controlling everything. Try to eliminate that. Okay? Gabriela, Rivka, try to stop thinking for 1 second. It's impossible. It's impossible. You cannot stop thinking. Okay, I need to take a break here.
We disturbed the private family class.
Not at all.
Hundreds of people in here.
It's much more fun when people come.
Absolutely.
Hey, how was your trip, Dolly? Oh, it's so nice.
Trip was awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really
Yeah, you had a good time?
We road trip to
Rachel, have you
Smoky
been getting
Mountains.
Braxton?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Have you been getting
surrounded by
Braxton?
nature, stars.
Yeah. You did it while you slept on town or beginning?
It took us 2 days. Like we took it slow.
Yeah.
It took us 2 days. We went
Oh, really? You took it off?
No, the car.
Here, you can do the math yourself.
We went to Wood Cabin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 4-bedroom,
Wow.
like 3-story. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Wow, that's nice.
Hot tubs outside.
That's,
Fire,
wow.
everything. What? Yeah.
That's nice.
It was beautiful. Yeah. And then the day we went around Smoky Mountains 2 days in the amusement park. It was beautiful. Now I need a vacation.
Yeah. That's it. I was
When you
saying.
take your kids on vacation.
If someone is watching online, if you want to send some question and you are part and you know with that WhatsApp group, you can post them on the WhatsApp group, and I will answer those questions. So you have about 10 minutes to post those questions.
Was it, brother? No, I told you, I was thinking I'm ready.
Do you want?
No, well, I'm ready.
Mm.
What the man? Can you bet it? Ay, sana ko? Imams? Ibadah ni ba? Huh? How much?
I don't want to ask you any questions. You take a break.
Yeah. I have a little cough here.
Should I fill up your water?
I have the one. No, I have it. Thank you. Can you call?
We're starting back up. All the hundreds of people, please come sit. It made more sense when I read it. You do 365 times 7,000.
Yeah.
That gets you to
365 and a half.
Right. And then you get to the 2 billion.
The
And
2
then
billion.
times
Then 7, which is the 7, the 7 creations. That's the 15 billion. So I missed something, by the way. It was a good question earlier, and I kind of eluded the question. Someone told me why in Hebrew we say Yom Aleph, Yom Bet, Yom Gimel, or Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, and why do we say Shabbat? Right? We don't say Yom Shvi'i. We don't say Yom Shvi'i, right? We say Shabbat. So what is the planet that says that we control the Saturday? Is Saturn. How do you say Saturn in Hebrew? Shabtai. Okay? Which is the same letter of Shabbat and Aleph Yud. Okay? And in other languages it's called Sabato. Okay? Which also come from Shabtai, the word Hebrew, the Hebrew word of the word the planet Saturn. Okay? Just to give you some analogies that nothing that has been done by the non-Jews are not coming from the planet's name. Okay, so now let's talk about more like a general, because that's also something that goes like the theory of the conspiracy here. Okay.
Which one?
There is a lot of theories of conspiracy that I've heard, but one that I've heard this week from my daughter-in-law is like they knew, or maybe my son-in-law, I don't remember which one. It says, one of the in-law that came to me and says, if the cathedrals were built in a certain way, to the cathedrals, sorry for the accent, Nechama, the cathedrals, okay, they were built in a certain way with those big, very tall structure here, pointy structure here, to capture electricity. Yeah, that's, there is a lot of conspiracy theories. All these buildings that have been built, why they have been built? Because they were able to go capture the electricity, carry electricity, means that there was some technologies.
During the Black Plague,
There was some technologies. Okay, guys, please focus. There was some technologies that existed in the past that, for some reason, someone came and brainwashed the people, and those technologies were forgotten. And somehow, 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years after, the technology came back, and it says, okay, but 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, they knew about that. What happened? What is the gap between this 1,500 years ago and today? Why there was a gap there? Okay, that's one question. I'll give you time for question. The second question is why most of the technology that we know today has been discovered within the last 150 years. So you have, let's say, since the JC time, okay, you had a lot of years, okay? It took a long time to go and understand how to build this. It took a very long time to do this. The last 150 years, they discovered the electricity, the thing, that the engine, the phone, the electricity, how to capture electricity existed how to capture the light. They did the LED. They did, okay. And if you look in the last 50 years, it's even like this thing. Where is it? Where is my phone? I don't know where it is. No, my phone.
It's under the paper.
It's under the paper. Thank you, my wife. Without you, I will be lost. Okay, so this thing here, not long ago, in 1980, to have something like that in my hand, okay, with the capacity that this thing has and the power of computing that this thing had, you needed the size of the pentagon of a computer to do the same thing that holds in my hand. We are talking 1970. We are talking 50 years ago. Okay? So why is the years here you had so much technology advance, and why during these 1800 or 1850 or 1900 years the technology did not advance that much? What happened? It's not linear, right? If you take everything today is always as a linear, right? The food, it was linear. People started the food and they found a cow and they found, oh, there is a cow, there is milk, let's drink the milk, okay? It's not healthy, but it's a different thing, okay? Let's do this, let's do that, let's do agriculture, and they were able to plant this, and then, so this thing was, growing slowly, and the technology was, but suddenly, all this thing here came up within like, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and everything was discovered. Okay, the computer is the thing that I'm streaming tonight, that I have this camera, I branch in, I go here, I go on YouTube, and you can see, so the Bluetooth, the Schmootooth, all the tooth thing here, why it's called the Bluetooth, by the way? Did you ever ask why it's called Bluetooth? No, I don't know. He said, oh, you must have the answer. I got you guys. Okay, so I do know, but I don't want to tell you why. Okay, anyway, so it's another class. I will have, I cannot tell you everything tonight. If no, I'm going to lose my crowd. I need to make sure you come next week, right? So, so all these things here that have been created here have been created very recently. So now the question is it been invented? Is it been created? How has this information been revealed? Or been, what, if you will do if you get an assumption, is this existed and people didn't know how to use it? Or really was because we say it's an invention, right? An invention, when I was saying earlier, the earth, the Kabbalah says, everything that we have was created from nothing to something, right? The tarnegol and the chicken and the egg. But when you do an invention, is it created from nothing, or is it created from something?
Like a discovery versus an invention?
Let's say someone say, oh, I invented Edison. Mr. Edison said, I invented the bulb, okay? The light bulb. He didn't say I discovered. It's called an invention, right? So an invention, what is an invention? Did you ever ask yourself what is an invention? Is it something that did not exist before? And, hold on, it did not exist before, and suddenly someone had an idea, and then he made it exist. The question is this thing existed? Or it did not exist and the person really created it, or the person revealed it. Okay? Not everybody they agree with that, by the way, the reveal part. If you go an inventor and says, no, I did not reveal it, of course I created it. I took my brain, I searched and all that, I did a million experimentation, and suddenly the thing works. Okay? So an inventor will disagree. He said, no, I did not reveal something that existed. I created something that it did not exist. So the guy is convinced, is a scientist, that he created something from nothing, which we know that scientifically is impossible. You cannot create something from nothing, because if they accept the fact that it created something from nothing, then they have to accept the fact that the earth was created from nothing to from nothing, and that cannot be. So this is why there is a lot of controversy into how things are being, and they see now they change. They don't call that an invention. They say it's been revealed. Oh, but now we have another problem. Is it been revealed? That means it existed. That means you did not invent anything. So the Kabbalah comes and explains, when God created the world, he created everything. He created the diseases. He created the cures for those diseases. By the way, he created the cures before the diseases. Okay, just for you to know. So if there is a disease, there is a cure for it. And there is a sefer that explains from, what is his name? The Kabbalist. No, not the Ari. Okay, escape my mind. Okay, is it going to come back to me? From Maimonides, from the Rambam. From the Rambam, that has a book that has for every single disease that is listed in that book, because the new disease that are not listed in that book has been created by human. Okay, it was not created by God. Okay, a lot of diseases today, what they call the immune diseases. No, so we have the ability. We have the ability. So we are going to see that there is stuff that we do create.
So
the problem when we create something, it has no existence on its own. Okay, if you create everything that you build, at some point is going to collapse. Okay, there is nothing that stays forever. Okay, everything that we create. So that's why those diseases are going to disappear. They have not been created by God. They are artificially existing. All the immune disease. By the way, an immune disease, the doctor don't understand. You know how many immune disease there is in the today? Unfortunately, there is much more than that. There is close to 1,500 immune disease these days.
What's like an immune disease?
An immune disease is your body eating himself. Asthma, thyroid, cancer is not healthy cells. Okay, so there is a healthy cell, and the immune comes and says, "I decide that this healthy cell is not healthy, so I'm going to kill it." That's the immune disease. Okay. By the way, there is 1,500 different immune diseases. Some of them are very rare. There is 1 or 2% a year having it, but some people have, and there is done that are very important. I don't know why. Something happened there. I'm sorry. And the people that created were channeled. You can even see him. You will be put immediately on the fire thing, and they will burn you. And they said you are a sorcery, right?
They really would.
Okay. So there is no way. So the time the information was delivered by God, and the technology was delivered by God, based on the time of the creation, based on those years here that we have, because that's what was needed for this period of the time that we are in. Each 7,000 years is representing a certain energy, and certain information can be revealed. So after the destruction of the second temple, when the Romans destructed the second temple, they stole a lot of the knowledge from the Jews. They stole everything. Not everything was destroyed, and they were able to have access to a lot of information that I was sharing with you tonight, which is basically how to create human being, how to do everything. Okay, if you know how to mix the letters, to set the letters in a certain way, you can create a human being. Okay. So the Roman had access to this information, and they started to use it. I showed you tonight with the Monday, the Tuesday. You know, this is why the days were created. So they started to get this information. They started to study. All the religion, the Christian religion, was based on these studies, and they know how to control the world. They know how to control the people. Okay, they had they were very strong. Okay, that's why they were able to conquer the entire world. So God created, like he did in the Babel time, the Babel Tower, when he created the Bilbul, he created the confusion. So God did the same thing for this information. He concealed the information. That's why from the 200, the 300 years after JC until the 1300, all the information that I was sharing with you tonight was concealed. Nobody had it. Okay? Nobody. It was very few people. It's about, I would say you can count them on two hands, the number of people that had this information in the Jewish history. And very few rabbis were able to go and carry this information, but they had a mission to carry verbally from one to the other. It's called from the teacher to the student, and they were carried through the schools, the different schools that they had around the world, until he went to Spain, and from Spain he went to France, and the south of France, in Aix-en-Provence, in south of France, this is where the Kabbalists revealed again all this information. But for 1200 years, this information was hidden from the world. How do we call this period? The Dark Age. That's funny that they call that the Dark Age. Why did they use this word, the Dark Age? Because there was no light of God during that time. There was no revelation. Nothing was revealed. The only thing that was done was chaos, was gvura, was killing, and then everything was done. From the light of God that was after the destruction of the temple, then the information was withdrawn from the world. Okay, was really withdrawn from the world and was in the hand of very few people.
That's why it's called Kabbalah. That's what Kabbalah means, because it was only passed on verbally.
And so, and so how the next period after the Dark Age called? Middle Ages. And after the Middle Ages? Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. That means it was the rebirth of the knowledge that God started, and the Renaissance started in the 1600. Who came in the 1600? The Ari, and all these people came, and this is when the Renaissance started. Okay? So the Middle Age was the period of the Kabbalists, when they started to go and study again. The revelation of this information was the Ari, it's called the Renaissance. So all those words that are used by everybody every day, that has no really meaning, when you connect that to this period of where this information is available, then you understand why. And then from that on, the revelation of God permitted and added to this earth people that were able, Copernic, that was able to do the stars. And you have Newton that found the attraction of the earth, the רצון לקבל לעצמו, the desire to receive for oneself alone, the attraction of the earth. All those people came, by the way, Copernic was a Kabbalist. All those people came, and all those people came and started to reveal this information until we came today. And today, all the information we have comes to support what? To support the coming of the Mashiach. For example, and that's the thing I'm going to finish tonight with, the Mashiach it's written in the Torah that when Mashiach will come, the entire world will know. Okay? So go now, you are in 2000, you are in first bite, like 700 years before you know whom, okay? And someone tells you, you know what, it's going to be a Mashiach one day. And you know what? The entire world is going to know about it. The guy cannot even talk to his wife, which is a kilometer away here in the house, right? but all the world is going to know about it. The guy will say, you have a little problem, my friend. There is no way. How the entire world? There is no paper, there is no phone, there is nothing. Today, we take a phone, we post that on a website. The entire world knows, have access. Billion of people have access to information instantly.
Preparing for the seventh day.
Okay? So that's basically the explanation of why it was said, 3,000 years ago it was said in a certain way that made no sense. Today it makes sense. Why it makes sense? Because we are in what we call the Idana Mashiach. We are in the time of Mashiach, of the Messiah. So that's why we have all this information being revealed today. All what I had to share with you tonight.
Wait, so were you saying that the Romans and the Egyptians had technology? And they
Of
were
course.
forgotten?
No, there was a.
So the Egyptian, they had the technology because they were enslaving the Jews. So they used the technology of the Jews to be creating their empire. All the ones that were controlling the Jews had power. So it was you have three big civilizations, that four civilizations that controlled the Jews around at this time. You have the Roman, the Egyptian, the Greek, and the Persians. These are the three civilizations that were able to control the Jews.
Even the British, right? They controlled
You have
Israel.
No, yeah, and the Spain. So the Spain were very rich, right? They were the richest. When they let go the Jews, they go down. So when you control the Jews, you have the knowledge coming with them.
When did England lose their power?
Okay, this knowledge is with the Jews because the Jews are revealing the knowledge. If you look at the scientists,
Technology of the pyramids, like what does that mean? Like
No, but even
you don't know how to build pyramids today. Right, they don't.
no, it's beyond that. Even regular electricity. There's a famous